This is the guidance presentation for the Year 9 Oral History project, the extended project that students will undertake in the spring or summer term of Year 9. The learning objectives and the learning outcomes are listed here below. The purpose of this activity is to understand the importance of oral history within your community, and the particular history skill that we're focusing on is communicating about the past. You are going to set questions and conduct an interview to find out about a past event of your choice, or by interviewing someone who you know had a unique experience or witness to an event in the past. The outcomes will be to know what oral history is, to understand the importance of oral history, and to be able to independently conduct your own oral history interview within your own local community, evaluate your interview, and consider the importance of the interview and the information that you have gathered. In terms of your personal learning and thinking skill, we are focusing on the independent inquirer skill. You're going to plan, carry out, research, explore issues and events from a different perspective, someone else's views. Your task then is to plan and conduct this interview. Now, there are three parts to the task. There is the planning element, and for this you are directed to complete the OH1 planning grid, which can be downloaded from this website. Secondly, you are to conduct the interview yourself and produce a summary of your interview. Now, that summary could be recorded, it could be visual, could be written down. And finally, you're going to evaluate the interview by completing the OH2 evaluation sheet. Now, just revisiting point 2, that basic summary will be the presentation that you actually put together. And it is what you will submit at the end as your final piece of work. But what is key to being marked and being successful is the handing in and completion of the OH1 and OH2 sheets. So you're planning. You need to think of a topic, and secondly, you need to think of someone to interview. Now, which way you start on this is up to you. You may know of an event that you wish to find out more about, in which case you then need to find the person who lived through that particular event. Or already you may know of someone who went through and has a particular unique story that you want to record, and you start with the person. It's very much up to you. 3. Once you know your topic and you know the person that you're going to interview, you need to do some background research. You must approach the interview in a professional way and be informed, because one of the key skills of an interview is to follow the thread of the conversation and take it in the direction that you want to, but also be led by the person that you are interviewing. In order to do that competently, you need to know something about the event that they will be discussing. Now, the background research could consist of simple research around the 5 key questions of what was the event, where did the event take place, when did the event, who was involved, why did the event happen. Now, that would be the basic background research. People keen to do well at this activity often do a lot more in-depth research than just that. Fourthly, you need to work out the questions that you are going to ask. You need to try to write questions that will encourage your interviewee to expand and explain their ideas and their feelings. You should be aiming to ask at least 15 questions during this interview. Conducting your interview. Explain to your interviewee that this is an important project and that you are very interested in their personal experiences. Treat the interview seriously and improve your interview practice and your interview skills by clearly and attentively listening to the answers that are given. Be aware that you need to make eye contact and look at your interviewee. If you don't understand what's going on in the interview, please feel free to ask questions. Seek clarity. If you're taping your interview or recording your interview, please make sure that you know how the equipment works, and obviously please make it clear with the interviewee that that is what you're planning to do and have their consent before you do it. Finally, remember to say thank you at the end of your interview. Evaluating your interview. You will be given an evaluation sheet, OH2, to fill in after you've conducted your interview. On this, you will need to reflect on how well the interview went and consider the value of the information that you have gained. Remember that in this project you are practicing and maybe using for the first time really important key life skills that will make and enhance your employability. It's extremely important that you reflect over how the process went. Remember, it's not just the final piece of work that is being assessed in this piece of work, it's also the planning and the reflection that you undertake. Ensure, as it says here, that you complete the sheet in full, as it will form part of your final submitted piece of work. Now, finally, presenting your project. Everyone will need to present the interview that they have undertaken. And the format in which you work in is very much your own choice. You might like to consider looking at past examples which you will find on the school shared area. Formats in the past have consisted of PowerPoints, though I would encourage you to move beyond PowerPoint now. It's a bit of a dry and fully used format. You could present your interview in the form of a poster for a piece of display work. It could be a typed report in the form of a book. You could put together a movie maker presentation. You could put together a Prezi or an extra normal presentation. Now, if any of these last three styles of presentation are new to you, I would suggest that you go to the ICT section on this particular website and take a look at some of the tutorials that explain how these particular pieces of presentation software can be used. Now, the success criteria that we've got here are what we are going to judge you against. We're going to be looking for clear planning and preparation, clear research that you've undertaken before conducting your research. Your report will need to say who you have interviewed, what you've interviewed them about, and why in particular you've chosen them. Your report explains what you found out. You will quote some of the things that your interviewee has said, and that you evaluate your interview using the OH2 sheet, and you should include this evaluation in your final piece of submitted work. So at the end of the project, you will be handing in your OH1, your OH2, and your presentation.